Hey Walker, when you first start mount farming, it can seem like an enormous and time consuming task, but in this video I will share with you all my 11 tips and tricks that I wish I knew when I first started out mount farming so that you can save time and gain mounts at a much faster rate. The first thing on my list is SimpleArmory. SimpleArmory is a very useful website which allows you to track your mount collection. Simply head to simplearmory.com and you'll get to this screen. Choose your realm and type in your character name, and you will see this completionist page. What we care about is only mounts though, so click collectible and choose mounts, and you'll get to this tab showing you which mounts you've collected from which expansions and which you haven't collected yet. What is so useful about this is that if you hover over a mount that you haven't collected yet, it will tell you where you get it from and the drop chance if it's a drop and so on. And if you click it, you will be directed to a Wowhead page for the mount where you can find even more useful information from tons of people in the comments. So, what I use this website for is making a plan and deciding on which mounts I want to get first, and just browsing and collecting knowledge about how to get the different ones and decide what to go for based on that. Number two, Lockout Sharing. Lockout sharing is kinda simple. If you have cleared up until the last boss in a raid, you can use your lockout and share it with your alts via the Dungeon Finder tool. What you have to do is simply clear until the last boss you want to share, make a group in custom, log onto your alt and queue up for your own group, log onto your main again and invite the alt, log onto your alt and accept and enter the raid. And then wait for the leadership to transfer. It will do so in 2 minutes. And then you just kick the main character. This way, your main character will not get saved even after you kill the boss that you want to kill. And you can kill it on both your main character and your alt without having to clear the raid twice. There is a downside to this though. It can't be done on the highest difficulty of raid. This means that you cannot do it on heroic for all raids from Mists of Pandaria and prior to this, and you can't do it on mythic difficulty for all raids from Walls of Draenor and post. I've made a list of which raids you can't use this method on. Feel free to pause to read it all, or you can look in the description. Reputation gain multipliers. A lot of mounts are locked behind a reputation, and there's a couple of ways you can gain way more reputation than what you normally do by just going out and farming. The first one being pretty obvious, you should roll a human. They have a passive racial called Diplomacy, which grants you 10% increased reputation gains at all times and in every scenario. The second one is the guild banners. There's three different versions depending on your guild's level, but the best one is called the Battle Standard of Coordination. And what it does is basically it gives you a 15% increased reputation gain from killing mobs while you stay within 100 yards of the banner, and it lasts for 15 minutes with only a 10-minute cooldown. So you can have this up at all times. So if you're looking to farm a reputation that requires you to kill a shit ton of mobs, bring this bad boy with you. It can even be used inside dungeons. And last but not least, for the reputation gains, we have the Darkmoon Faire carousel. And Darkmoon Faire is up for 1 week every month. And during this time, you can go to the Darkmoon Faire, purchase a ride ticket from almost any NPC there, and get on the carousel, which is the first ride to your right when you get there. And for every 2 seconds you stay on the carousel, you will receive a buff called Wee, which gives you another 10% increased reputation gain for up to 60 minutes. You can basically have this active at all times during the Darkmoon Faire events. And if you're farming reps like the Pandaren reps and you get tokens from the Warbringers located around Pandaria, wait for the Darkmoon Faire to come around before you use the rep tokens, and you'll gain 10% more rep from the tokens as well. Also from tokens like the time walking tokens that you can buy from the vendors with the badges. So always save the rep tokens for Darkmoon Faire. And if you combine all three ways of gaining bonus reputation, you're looking at a 35% reputation increase, which is a pretty solid amount, and it will save you a ton of time. Speed set. The most important thing if you want to be successful in mount farming is efficiency and time. So I really recommend that you collect a speed set for your main farming character. A speed set is just gear from different raids and dungeons that give you some form of movement speed bonus, and some classes can reach up to towards like 190% base movement speed. There's a lot of good guides out there for every single class, so definitely go check that out. I myself have made a guide for warriors. It's probably not the best speed set out there, but it is indeed very useful and saves me a ton of time. And if you can't be bothered with collecting a speed set, let me at least recommend you to always use fried bonefish. This food will give you a 20 something percent movement speed whenever you kill a mob, so farming dungeons becomes a lot faster with just this one item. The Firelands Skip. This is not really a huge tip, but you're gonna love it anyway. You can basically skip most of the Firelands raid and only kill the two bosses that drops a mount. So head to Elisrosor and pull it. Don't kill it instantly. Wait till it spawns 3 feathers and then pick them up. This will make you able to fly. Once you can fly, instantly kill the boss and head straight for Ragnaros's plateau without looting Elisrosor. You will be able to fly all the way, and you can skip killing all the other bosses. Start by doing this on normal mode and then head out and do it on heroic mode afterwards, and you will have 4 mount attempts in basically no time. Also, remember to check your mail for the mount since you won't be looting Elisrosor. Class Trial Faction Mounts. If you have been told that the first thing you should do when you start mount farming is to buy the tablet for each of your factions' respective major cities, so that you can passively grind reputation while clearing dungeons to eventually hit exalted after 250 dungeon runs, so you can buy the race mounts, then you have been lied to. There is a way to literally instantly get all of the respective race mounts. We're talking 47 mounts in about 10 minutes of playtime. And the key to this is the class trials. The class trials is supposed to be a way to test out a class before deciding on creating and leveling one, or before buying a boost, I guess. But in reality, it's used to collecting mounts. If your main character is a human and you want the 12 Pandaren race mounts, simply just create a class trial that is a Pandaren, log in, Hearthstone, send some gold to it from your main, head to the mount seller in Stormwind if Alliance, and buy the mounts. No need to grind the rep at all, and this works for all races, and also you can add another mount to your collection by creating a paladin. Class trial rare mounts. Another way to use the class trials is to farm some very specific rare spawn mounts. Since you can create a class trial on any realm, what people have figured out to do with it is simply create one on a low population RP realm and head to where the rare spawn is supposed to be. Then you log in a couple of times during the day to check if the mount is up, and you will have a way bigger chance than if you're playing on a high population realm where rare mounts are always camped. And if the rare has multiple spawn points, you can just create multiple class trials, so you won't have to spend time traveling. This only works for a very few specific mounts, though they will be on the screen now, but also listed in the description. A few things to note about the class trials, if you want to camp rares, is that you have a 3-hour playtime, in-game playtime time limit on all class trials. You can only make 4 class trials every 2 hours, and you can only make 8 class trials a week, and you cannot enter dungeons and raids. Build an army of alts. This one is kind of self-explanatory. If you want more chances at rare drop mounts, you will need more characters. Even just 4 alts is enough to make almost any rare drop farm seem much less far-fetched and much more accomplishable. Add-ons. Add-ons can make a big quality of life change, or they can provide some very useful information to you. And these 3 add-ons are what I recommend getting for mount farming. First up is Rarity. Rarity will show you how many attempts you have had at a mount drop, keeping track of how many times you do certain stuff. And this can be devastating to know in some cases, but I find it funny or even reassuring to know how many attempts that I have. Imagine I have 300 attempts. I feel like it's just around the corner, so I keep doing it, and it kind of motivates me. Next up is saved instances. Saved instances lets you check which instances you have cleared or which bosses you've killed on a specific character. So if you have a lot of alts and can't remember what you've done on them, I recommend getting this add-on. Last but definitely not least is Leatrix Plus, and it is one of the biggest quality of life add-ons in general. There is a ton of customization to automate tedious actions in game, but the ones I use the add-on for is faster looting, auto repair, and auto sell junk. As sometimes when you mount farm, your bags will quickly get filled with junk if you loot everything. Do something else. Do something else. This might sound weird, but a lot of mount farming doesn't require your full attention and it can very quickly get boring. So, one of my best tips for you is do something else while farming. Listen to music, watch a show, listen to podcast, or watch all my videos on YouTube and subscribe to my channel and like and comment and all that kind of stuff. Like, imagine you're waiting for a respawn that has a 1 hour spawn rate, and you really only have to look at the screen every once in a while to see if it's spawned yet. Or imagine you're farming a reputation where you literally just have to click one button and then mount up and then click one button again. Like, this will very quickly get tedious. So do something else at the same time, please. Last but not least, don't burn yourself out. Mount farming is not always the most fun thing to do, and a lot of it is very grindy. So don't burn yourself out by trying to collect 50 different mounts at the same time. Doing dailies for 5 reps and farming 10 raids on 10 character each week. Decide on a couple of mounts that you want to farm for some time, and if you feel the motivation to do more after doing your daily grind, go ahead. But be careful not to burn out, or you will quickly end up with like 5 or 10 half done projects. And that is it for this video. I hope you learned something and enjoyed watching. Thank you very much for watching at least, and please consider leaving a subscribe, like, or just a comment for Mr. Algorithm, and have a wonderful day. Bye.